Welcome back to FreeMind Fridays, where we take life's pressure and turn it into fuel. I am your host, Nate Fochtman, and today's episode is packed with real talk and deep insights. We've got my co-host, Clifford Starks, former UFC and Bellator fighter turned mindset coach, here to break down the power of resilience. Joining us today is Linda Duong, founder of Three Hearts, who's on a mission to build real connections and cut through the isolation that so many of us feel today. We're covering everything from personal growth to overcoming setbacks and how to stay locked in when life tries to shake you. Stick around. This is one you don't want to miss.
Are you getting more gray in your beard, brother?
Yeah, dude, I woke up yesterday. I'm so glad you said that. I woke up yesterday and I thought I was going crazy. I'm like, am I getting grayer by the day right now? And I've been on, that's so funny. I literally texted that to a friend of mine 3 days ago, 3 days ago. I was like, I think I'm getting grayer in the past week.
Oh, it creeps up out of nowhere.
I've just embraced it, and like today I think it's the green shirt. It like pops it off even more. I don't know, but today it definitely is like I can see it beaming in the screen right now. Yeah,
it's distinguishing, brother. It's distinguishing. Like I go, like, you know what? If that's my stripes, that's my stripes. My ears are my stripes too. I used to I'm like, fuck my ears up, and then I realized like, oh wait, the people who are supposed to like it end up liking it, so it's good. It's like my own attraction mechanism.
Dude, the coolest thing though was a couple of years ago, before I started going gray, it was like my beard was brown and I had this red streak right down the middle, and it was like a perfect stripe. It was really thick and it was really cool, and then it all went gray.
You're like, that is son of a, that only lasted.
Yeah, it was a trademark, because I used to joke around that I spilled so much beer that it stained my beard. Hey, how are you?
Hey, good, thank you. How are you, Nate? Hi,
Very
Clifford.
good.
Hey, Linda. All right. We got Linda from Three Hearts in the house.
I'm ready anytime you are, gentlemen.
Nice.
All right. Perfect. Well, yeah, Clifford, if you want to go right ahead and introduce Linda, tell us how you guys got connected, and then Linda, for yourself and for Clifford, I have some questions to kind of keep the conversation flowing. And again, everything's free flowing and everything like that. So Clifford, take it away.
Yeah. So what I love about Linda is we ended up meeting through Facebook. She owns Three Hearts, and I love Three Hearts because it's like three times the size of a regular size heart. You know, loving to the fullest, loving yourself, loving others, loving your community. And as I've gone through my journey, she wrote a book on connections. It's a powerful book, and it's a #1 bestseller as well. And she's just a hungry individual looking to serve coaches all around the world, which I really, really appreciate. I really, really value. So I'm just honored and grateful to have her here, so she can share her story, she can share her mission, and she can just get it out there to the people who need to hear it, so she can support them at the highest level.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Good fit.
So for Linda, what was kind of a defining moment in your life that led you into this career path where you currently do?
Yeah, it was very, very out of the norm kind of moment. I'm still feeling it all. Sorry. So what happened is that I saw the news as I was signing into my email. I don't watch news because it saddens me too much. As I was signing into my email, just this news popped in front of my face. And this girl, 15 years old, she's so beautiful in America. She took her own life due to cyberbullying. I don't know her. I never met her. But she's just so beautiful, seriously, gentlemen. She's so beautiful. She's just like supermodel to me at the age of 15. Beautiful brunette hair, tan skin, green eyes. I still remember her face vividly. In some way, I wish I kept that picture, but in other ways, I probably can't because I would still be too saddened, right? So I just couldn't understand how someone so beautiful and yet got cyberbullied to the fact that she needed to end her life. I just couldn't stop my tears. And then the very next day, I was signing onto Facebook, and at the time I wasn't very active. I was just staying in touch with a few group of people. And this group was healers. And the group owner's son in Australia was only 11 years old. And he said, the mom shared that, oh, today is just so sad that her son's buddy at school took his own life, and he's only 11 years old. To this day, I still don't understand how anyone at such an age can take their own life. I don't understand. I don't know how, I just sit here and I just brawling my, tears I could not stop my tears. And that's when, and there was another story consecutively, very interestingly, consecutively. The third story was that a coach, now I never met her, I never communicated with her, but in the group, she shared that, hey guys, I'm very excited that my boss gave me 2 days leave to work on my dream job, which is establishing as a coach. And we were so excited for her. But that same day, at my time, Sydney time, midnight, we received a notification from her buddy, said, pray for Caroline, she's in hospital. And I never did this before. I never checked Facebook in the middle of the night. I don't know why. At exactly 12 a.m., I checked it. And that's what I did. That's when I did one emoji. Now, you know me now, I would do 3. Back then it was just 1. It was the first time ever, right, that I did that I checked Facebook in the middle of the night. And then for whatever reason, I checked again at 3 a.m. and the buddy said she's gone. There was absolutely no notice whatsoever. It turns out that she had a seizure. And these 3 days consecutively, I just could not stop my tears. And for the coaches, I feel like I just keep thinking, she just realized her dream. I just wish that she could live her dream before she goes. At the time, I thought we all have to go one day. I know that, right? But I've been so blessed to be able to live all my dreams. I just so wish that she was able to live her dream before she goes. And I just could not stop my tears. I have not cried like that except my mother's own passing. So I was crying from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. I don't know why. I could not stop my tears. By 6 a.m., I was exhausted. So I went to bed. 8 a.m., I woke up, take my kids to school. But when they wake up, they thought I was sad. And I do communicate to my kids, not to load emotions on them, but I'm quite, communicative with them, quite connected with them. So I just simply said, in case they're wondering, right, because my eyes were swollen, I was looking sad. In case they were wondering, I was just saying, oh, mommy's a little bit sad today. I lost a friend. Now, they didn't probably understand much, but that's all I said, just so that they understand why I was so upset. After I sent them to school, I came back. I sit here quite another 2 hours. And then I just felt like there's a message. And that's when I felt compelled that I need to share my book. But the book was actually written for my children only at the time. I wrote it for my children only, and there's a backstory to it. I don't know how much time we have.
Keep going. You're good. You're good.
Oh, okay. So I was relocating my senior dad to the nursing home. He was 92 at the time, and I lived quite far away from him. I got stuck in traffic in busy city of Sydney, stuck in traffic for an hour and a half before I can get to him. I was nursing him because he was amazing. He was living by himself. Unfortunately, he just had a fall and broke his hip bone. We have to relocate him to the nursing home. Now, for me to tell you that, it's just one sentence. But back then, it was a long journey. Anybody who has gone through this will know it's a long journey of looking for the right home for him, especially he can't speak English and he doesn't eat Western food. We have to look for one that is Chinese or Vietnamese, where I came from. I came from Vietnam. He was from China. And speak the language and all of those, at the right level, right standard, right cause, everything. So it was a long journey. Every day, I have to wake up, take my kids to school, rush an hour and a half to be with him, and I become his diversional therapist. I have big fat stories, gentlemen. It's a big journey. But then every day for the whole month, 30 days, I just realized, oh my God, I just wish that mom was here for him to nurse him. But my mom was long gone. And then I realized that my children never got to met her. And this incredible mom, she lost her own mother at the age of 8. And yet she became this incredible mom for 10 kids. We all are connected to her. We all were close to her, even to the day she passed. So in order of gratitude, I just want to write about grandma to connect my children with her. But after I wrote the first draft is when I witnessed these, or not witnessed, but heard about these 3 passings. And that's when I felt compelled to share the book. That's when I felt like it couldn't be just for my kids. And I just feel like it's a message that I have to do something about it because I was so upset by it. And that's what propelled me to this whole journey.
Wow.
And as an extension of the book, I started 3 Hearts because I thought if we have 3 Hearts connection hubs all around the world as a safe space for people to share and connect, these 2 children might still be here. And with that compelling feeling, once again, I took action. I launched 3 Hearts. And at the time, I was imagining that if we have 3 Hearts connection hubs all around the world, that people can come in, it'd be amazing. But COVID happened. So I did launch it in Sydney, and then I launched it in Ohio. A friend and willing to be an ambassador launched it in Ohio. But COVID happened. So then we brought onto Zoom and we extended to Europe. And that's when Clifford joined the meeting and everything, and the rest is history, they call it.
Excellent. I'm looking at that right now. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so if you look at lindaduong.com.au, there's a tab that tells you about 3 Hearts background story, which is exactly what I just shared with you.
And so with 3 Hearts, are you working specifically with parents or children or every sort of scenario?
At the time, because of COVID and because our mission is so big, the vision and mission of 3 Hearts is to create a more connected society by eliminating isolation, loneliness, and the lead to depression. So at the time, it was just inviting friends. We never advertised as such. I just created a Facebook group. And how it all began is that I have amazing readers who love the book. My book has been a companion for people who go through critical times. And we have amazing leaders, right? And many readers become published authors just from reading the book. So for the fan, for the lover of the book, share with me that, how much they love the book. I have a theater director read the book all in one sitting. She said, Linda, I could not put it down. And it's not a 4-pages book. It's a 400 pages book. So he literally dedicated the whole day, read through it. So basically I share with the people who resonated with the story. And I just share that I have the vision with 3 Hearts. And so they just volunteer to be ambassadors. So I have 16 ambassadors, amazing ambassadors. We have chiropractic doctors. We have marketing directors who run $1 million companies. We have amazing people. And so they just invite their friends, whoever resonate with the vision and mission, we just join together. And it ended up to be amazing leaders. And there's moms, there's grandmas. We have Barbara, Clifford probably know, she was 76 years old. And she said, Linda, I never got a chance to learn about myself until I come to 3 Hearts. She said, all my life, and her clip is on the website as well. She said, all my life, tell me what to do, tell me what to achieve, but I never got a chance to learn about myself until I come to 3 Hearts. And 3 Hearts has allowed me to realize, to be more than what I could. It was just incredible. And so we serve for free. And it was an incredible journey that we all stuck together right through COVID in a matter of 75 minutes like this through Zoom, right? We laugh, we giggle, people share incredible stories. This is right at the beginning of COVID. Right at the beginning of COVID in March, May, April, June, those first few months, we have incredible stories shared. I could go on all day long, but there's a few testimonials on the website that you could see. And there's many clips. If you look on my Linda Duong author YouTube towards, right at the beginning, there's many clips that shares.
And you have a very unique approach to personal transformation. Are you still doing it a hybrid, like remotely as well as in person in those facilities that you had mentioned, or is it all remote right now?
So Three Hearts vision and mission will forever go on. I have even now have a Three Hearts bench installed in Sydney. The work will never stop. But as with the 16 ambassadors, we kind of like disbanded only because I didn't want to have a business model. And so there was no paid. It was volunteer work. But as you could imagine, COVID hit many people. We all have to resume life. And it wasn't like I have millions of dollars to sit here and serve. I already sacrificed about $1.5 million for that project myself out of my own pocket. There's no donation. I didn't accept any donations. We even have investors interested at the time, but I was really persistent to stick to my original intention that I would serve for free. And so also on top of that, because everyone had to resume their new reality, new life, everyone got busy. Mm-hmm. So we kind of paused the meeting, but we're about to resume again because I wanted to let people have time to resume their normalcy, like the ambassadors and even our members, everyone's too busy to resume their life. But now, and also, truth be told, at the time I thought, only during COVID that people need it. But now that I paused it, my members been telling me, Linda, we wish it was still going on. We wish it was still continuing. And I have more and more startup founders sharing with me their journey of loneliness and depression. And so, yes, we are gearing up to resume the activities again. So if anybody's interested, just get in touch with me and I would love to share. Now, I must say, in our community, we only have heart-centered leaders. We only have heart-centered individuals. Clifford knows that, right? So it wasn't just business owners. There was mom, there's artists, there's all walks of life and all faith. We have all kinds of faith, Christian, Muslim, Buddhism, from all walks of life, yes. The only thing that connects us all is the three hearts. Love and connection for ourselves, love and connection for each other, and love and connection for the universe. That's the main thing.
What do you think is a common misconception that people overthink in this space? Like when they get trapped, whether it's in their own heads or external environments that are keeping them isolated and in a depressive state. What do you think is a misconception that can help them kind of get outside of themselves in that moment?
Yeah. So the biggest flaw, misconception, whatever it's what that you use it that keep us from connecting. And the beginning of the thread that put us into disconnection and the lead to isolation and loneliness and keep going down is that one thought, let me be okay first. The minute something is not going well, we'll go, I'm a little bit too embarrassed to show up, or I'm too embarrassed to tell, or I don't want to bother people, right? Just let me get it right first. That, when you have that thought, the minute you have that thought, please be aware, please be kind to yourself by not judging yourself, by not telling yourself that I need to be okay. None of us are okay in a sense that it has to be perfect. Even leaders, the most amazing leaders, the king, the queen, none of us are perfect. None of us are at the stage that everything is perfect and complete. Just know that. If you're listening and you're going through something and you feel like my life is not okay, it's all right. It's okay to be not okay. The only reason why that I'm able to carry through so many stages of challenges, like I was born at the end of the Vietnam War, we didn't have anything, right? I mean, these days when we hear about the war that's going on for 8 months, we really go, oh my God, it's so long. The war in Vietnam was going on for not 1 year, not 3 years, not 10 years, 30 years long. 30. How crazy is that? How crazy did anybody let a war going that long? Anyway, the one thing that my incredible mom and my dad, but more, because I'm a girl, we attach to mom more, right? So I have incredible parents, and I'm not saying that just because they're my parents. They really made me who I am today. It's okay. This is what I say. Every single time we go through any challenges, the first thing that comes into our mind is that it's okay. If you just keep telling yourself that, you'll be able to steady yourself. You'll be able to catch a breath. You'll be able to be calm and collected. You'll be able to recalibrate. You'll be able to just take one tiny step at a time. Seriously, it's that simple. If we get to talk, and a lot of people want to know all my, strategies and tips and secrets to be achieving every single dream I have so far, seriously, it's the simplest thought. You know how you asked me how to stop the thoughts? If you could repeat the question again for the viewers.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was to how to understand and be able to work past, sorry, let me think about here for where I was there for a sec, was working past when you're in isolation and things like that, being able to work through what you're internally putting onto yourself versus what's an external, and kind of differentiating the two, and then figuring out how to move forward from there.
Yeah. So thank you for repeating that again. So when you're facing challenges, okay, just say you're okay. That's step number one. Okay. Step number one is don't judge yourself. Don't think that you have to have all the ducks in a row. Everything has got to be perfect. And just know that we are imperfect. None of us, the most successful people, are still challenging. So step number one is tell yourself it's okay, because we're all in the same journey of the human life. We all face challenges. Number two, by realizing that even the most successful people don't have everything worked out, you will have less judgment to yourself. And when you have less judgment to yourself, you can be kinder to yourself. So the external part is have less judgment to yourself, being less critical to yourself. The internal part is telling yourself that it's okay, so that you can steady yourself, so that you can gather your strength to face whatever it is in front of you. But most of all, do not ever think that you have to be okay to show up, to be with people, to continue the way you are. Because the minute you say, let me have a pause, you will pause more, and you just go backward. Before you know it, one day turns into 1 week, 1 week turns into 1 month, and that's when, notice I use the word the lead to depression. Three Hearts helps people to avoid the lead to depression. So what we do is that we show up and meet together. And that's one way to keep people to it is the only way to keep people to stay connected. And when we stay connected, you literally flipping the cycle. You're literally going, the spiral upwards instead of downwards. So I'm going to repeat the 3 simple steps again. Number 1, acknowledging that no one is perfect. So then therefore you can become less critical of yourself. That's the external thought. That's the external work, right? Number 2 is to say it's okay. And that is step number 2, very crucial, simple word. It's okay. So that you can steady yourself, catch a breath, take the 3 conscious breaths. I mentioned that in the book. All you have to do is take 3 conscious breaths, and I can illustrate it in a minute if you like. So step 1, no one's perfect. Step 2, it's okay. Step 3, keep showing up. Keep continuing doing what you're doing. Right? You don't have to be perfect to show up. You don't have to be perfect to continue. Don't pause. Okay? Don't pause. For example, if you normally have a once a week family dinner or friends or colleagues go out after hour, whatever, keep that routine. It's very important to just keep that routine. If you have to show up and not as happy, still show up. If you have a business network that you normally go to and you feel like, oh, I'm not in a good shape, or I lost the deal, I feel too embarrassed to share, whatever, don't stop it. Stop the self-criticizing, analyzing, judging, whatever, but just show up anyway. When you can keep that routine, it's so important. that it keep you steady and not going backward. Does that help?
Yeah, it definitely helps. It's I talked about this a few times, but like I went into a pretty deep depression and things like that for a while, and I think that was the number one thing was coming out of it was not getting past the ego of being ready to be out of it. And I'd had 2 cycles in my lifetime. One was in sobriety, and one was just a bout with depression. And going through sobriety was the same thing. When I first got sober, it took a long time for me to be comfortable going back out into the public. So I resonate directly with everything you just said.
And that's exactly why you don't want to have that, right?
Mhm.
Because once you go backward, it takes a long time to be able to come back out. And it's like a heavy process. Whereas if you keep yourself steady, right? Keep the routine, whatever you're doing, even it's less ideal, even it's less perfect, you keep it, you can work through it easier than falling down to the deep end and having to dig yourself all back out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I got a thought that I would like to share too. I had an uncle who actually had a heart attack, and
I'm so sorry
died.
to hear.
Yeah, thank you. He died driving himself to the hospital. One area he did show up was in consistency. He went to work. And then the one area with the 3 hearts, that place, that safe space where you can actually talk, there were moments he could have had a conversation about it and people could tell he was off. They're like, hey, you look off. Are you okay? And look, it's one person talking to another. I'm the same way where I'm like, oh, I'm good. I'll shake it off. And it's like, yeah, having that conversation to be like, no, something feels off. Something doesn't feel right. Like, can you help me out?
Yeah, and so that's why one of the fun games, we call it games, where we treat it like a game, and it is kind of like a game. So one of the things we often ask everyone is that choose one word to describe how you're feeling today. And so we can practice that. If everyone's listening, you can do that. And you can do that. You can share with us in the comment, or you can just tell yourself, because we're going through life so busy that sometimes we don't even realize how we're feeling, right?
Yep.
So maybe let's illustrate that. Let's join in the fun, right? Nate, would you like to share one word how you're feeling right now?
I would say today is energetic today.
Wonderful. So, Clifford, how about you?
I'm feeling amazing. I'm on a podcast with you, Linda, with you, Nate. So I'm excited and just enjoying the journey right now.
And I feel blessed because to be able to, connect across the globe. I'm in Sydney, Australia. I'm actually living in your future. It's actually 6:31 a.m. at the moment. Well, just turned 6:32 a.m. So I feel very, very blessed, and to be able to share the work with everyone, and hopefully it benefits everyone. That's all why I do what I do. And so, yeah. So the word is blessed.
What are some of for you, as far as that goes, like when you get into these new routines and things like that, do you find one thing that I'll just speak from my personal place, and I know some people connect this way. I think the biggest challenge was figuring out whether to reemerge all at once or to like phase in. And what I mean by that is, let's take sobriety, for example. Like you're cutting alcohol out of your life. You need to work on your mental health, and you need to work on your physical health, and you need to work on a few other things. But sometimes those things can all become overwhelming as you're still dealing with you're still trying to understand how to manage your stress in your life, because you're used to escape, and now you have to be present in your feelings and your emotions. How do you have an opinion as far as do it all at once or the phased approach? I'm always curious because there's 2 different schools of thought when it comes to that reemergence of rebuilding your life and your routines and things like that.
Sure. You said there's 2 school of thoughts. I like to hear the 2 school of thought first before I share mine.
So I've been presented with 2 in various times in this process, in this journey. It's 2 different schools of thought, it seems, and I'm not a professional in this world, so it's just that's the way it's perceived my end. One is you just reemerge yourself right back in and just get right back to where you were before, and just ignore. Basically, but it's like just ignore that you don't have those other crutches or those tools. Whereas in the other way was a phased in approach where it's like, okay, focus on your mental health right off the bat, because if you don't have strong mental health, you want to have good physical health, and then bring the physical health in after the mental health. But then I know you're going to have, with yours, it's a very much different is don't worry about that perfection and just get out there and start moving. So I guess there's a third school of thought where motion is just a positive thing as well. So regardless of which direction, just forward motion is the most, I guess that's kind of, I guess I might have answered my own question there in some way.
You are right. You're absolutely right. Because sometimes it's hard to get your mental health in place without the physical. In fact, it's most of the time. In fact, it's 100% of the time, right? It's really hard to sit there and say, I'm going to work on mental health. It won't work. The only way is to get up and get moving. Get up and get moving. Go out for a walk, for a jog, for a swim, for a run. If you could run, it's the best thing. If you remember Forrest Gump, right? He had trouble in the end, all he does just running. He just run. There is amazing power in moving your body. Your mind cannot adjust itself until your body moves. This is why Tony Robbins and many other, mindset leaders often do singing, dancing, screaming, whatever it is. It has that body movement. Your body movement pumps the blood, pumps up to the brain and oxygen. You have to have movement, in fact, in order to help with the mental health. But whether, I'm not going to pick side with school of thought.
And I don't have it. You're not offending me. I have no opinion, because actually my biggest thing is it has to work for the person. So everything is, there is no universal opinion on my end nor anybody else. Yep.
Right. So for me, I would also like to add this note as a disclaimer. I'm not a psychologist and I don't drink, so I don't know the extensive of suffering. So let me just put that out as well. But what I do know is that it would be so difficult if you sit there and say, let me work on my mental health first, and then let me work on my physical. It's just too many compartments, too many parts, and we are a human body that we have heart, mind, soul connection together in one. And we cannot function if we don't have the mental health and physical health. So therefore, it's a whole package. So yes, a lot of times when I work on projects or business, as you could see, I have 4 in my banner. You do work on one thing at a time. But in this sense, in terms of health and well-being, it's all together. And how would I do it? Like I already mentioned, go for walk, go for jog, go for run, swimming, do any kind of sport. When you do those sports, you're really looking after your body, your physical health. And when you're looking after your physical health, simultaneously, you're really looking after your mental health. And I'm going to give you one more exercise. Some people take this so easy. It's really easy peasy. Some people will find it a little bit challenged to do because they are not used to it, because they've been so busy, right? And they always occupied with another thing. Get out to nature. Get out to nature. Now, it doesn't even matter if you live in the biggest city that is really busy, only buildings, and you don't have nature to get to. Put on YouTube meditation music with beautiful scenery. If you could just do that 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, it's all I ask at the beginning, but gradually build it up. And if you are somewhere that you can just get out for a walk, even just a little park, a little lake, if you can get to the beach, awesome. If you can get to the mountain, even amazing. Get out to nature. The more you get out to nature, the quicker, faster, more impactful you'll heal. And not only you will heal, you will transform your life. When I first came to Australia at the age of 15, I didn't know a word of English. I grew up with black and white TV, black and white photos. I never even have color pencils. I never know what a world map looked like. I never even seen a computer. None of those stuff. I came here, it's a complete lost world. It was so overwhelming. If I imagine that I take you back in time, you don't have YouTube, you don't have Facebook, you don't have color photos, just back in black and white. in Mongolia somewhere that you can't speak English. Yeah, that's all I could mimic, right? Because it's just a complete different world. I had no friends. I couldn't speak the language. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't even get on a bus to go somewhere because I have extreme motion sickness. So I have to end up walking to school a whole hour, whether it's hot, rain, cold, because in Australia, we have true 4 seasons. When it's hot, it can get up to 40 degrees Celsius. Luckily, I didn't have to walk that day, right? And when it was raining, one day I was soaking wet by the time I got to school. I kept thinking, because I couldn't talk. I don't have the language. I don't have friends. Luckily, I have amazing parents, right? I end up being a teenager who overthought so much that I had anxiety. I have knots in my stomach to the point that the doctor had to give me medication. And it was to the edge where I'm about to get ulcer. So then he sent me to a specialist. And this amazing specialist, I wish I remember his name. I don't even remember his name because I only saw him for like a brief 15 minutes. But that's when my life has a turn. But only because I'm a good student. So whoever's listening, if you're a good student, a good learner, and willing and open to take up new ideas, willing to implement it, that's why I call our coaching platform coachable, because you got to be coachable in order to evolve, right? All he said is, Linda, tell me what's happening. I said, I can't stop thinking. I think when I'm awake. I think when I'm sleeping. I can't stop. I literally could not stop my brain thinking at the time. He said, okay, what are you thinking about? I said, everything. He said, okay, think in nature. Get out in nature. That's all he said. That's all he said. But at the time, I so needed the answer that I was willing to do it. Also because from the Eastern world, I was growing up in Vietnam, right? In the Eastern world, we are very attuned to advice and wisdoms. We love it because we didn't have school as much as people here. You know, we don't have the luxury of like private school and fancy teaching. So majority of the teaching that we crave is the people who walk before us and give us the learning, the lessons that they have. And we're grateful for that. And so that's what I did. I took his word as like my Bible, you know, the advisor, because I just couldn't find a way out. I could not stop thinking. I really could have gone cuckoo if I continued. So that's what I did. I went out, walk, then I sit, and then I started to hear the leaves in the wind. Then I started to hear the birds. Then I started to notice dogs running around, cats, whatever animal. It's incredible, simple medicine to your mind, your heart and soul. So go out to nature. Every single time with my coaching, with my book, I share it with my book, everything. I just say, go out to nature. Nature has the power to heal and transform when nothing else can. So, yeah.
I think it's for me when I do a lot of time in nature. I do a lot of hikes, a lot of things like that. I think the other thing that grounds me with that is not just is the emotion, but also like just watching and observing. So if you're able to be in an area outside of an urban area and you actually have wildlife and things like that, that's for me just the easiest turn off and be able to tune out of everything that's going on and just be like, looking at what it's like to kind of just navigate life without the extra variables and things like that.
Absolutely. And that is the secret. That is the secret. By going out to nature, when you start your mind drifting off, right? Whether you hear the lake, whether you hear the leaf, you watch the bird, the dog, the animal, it takes your mind off the issues that you're so occupied with. And that's how your mental health gets healed. It needs a chance to have a break. It needs a chance to step back in order to come back with a fresh perspective. It needs a chance for your creativity to come in so that you can solve your problem differently. And that's absolutely what it is that once you start going out to nature, you start hearing things, feeling things, seeing things, and observing things. And then you'll be able to come back into your human body with a fresh take. And that's how you feel rejuvenated, because you're able to have a break from the exhausting thoughts from whatever that you're dealing with.
I had Mother Nature teaching me a lesson yesterday. I was on a hike and I was crossing over a stream, a creek, stream, whatever you want to call it. And there was a tree over it, and I was walking over the tree doing a little balancing, but I had my earbuds in, and I don't normally do that at all. But for some reason, I had my earbuds in, and I didn't fall or anything like that. But because of the sweat, my earbuds flipped out and then went down in the creek. And because I wasn't on any grounding, I couldn't quickly maneuver to grab them. And but I had to laugh at the whole situation because I laughed because I was like, well, that's Mother Nature telling you pay attention to what's around, not the Bluetooth that's pushing into your ear from Spotify.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
I laughed as I watched my earbuds float down the stream. So
absolutely, and I congratulate you for taking that as a lesson, as a message, because a lot of people have things like that happen and they still don't realize. They will just get grumpy and then continue on. They still don't realize that is a sign to remind you to be more present. And that's intuition. Mm-hmm. That's how you tap into your intuition, is you're paying attention to the little things like that.
Yeah, Clifford and I talk about this a lot. I'm only about a year into it, but I've been paying attention a lot and receiving and appreciating. So
it's an incredible journey. Once you tap into your intuition, you live in a different world. Mm-hmm. When you tap into your intuition, you can ignore all the outside noises. And that's how I live my life. And that's how I'm able to achieve every single dream I have so far, is tuning out all the outside noises.
And we have a few minutes left. I want actually, I'm glad you just said that exact last statement, because I think a lot of times, and this was me prior as well, was I would listen to statements like that where it's like tune everything out, ignore everything. And I would interpret that as like being like an emu where you just put your head in the sand and you ignore everything. And I want people to understand. So I want to have you kind of elaborate as well what it is we really mean when we say that. And I'm saying that from the other perspective. And now I'm on the other side and I get it now. But I also can see how when you're not ingrained in it, you can look at that as like an ignorance is bliss kind of thing when it's not that at all.
So you said you just got it now. How about you share first, and then I can clarify.
Yeah, I think it's really the deprioritization of everything. It's the understanding and looking at everything linearly for a split second. I'm a very visual learner. So when I have a run of topics or issues, everything's lined up like a timeline. And then from there, I slide things up and I slide things down based on priority and whether or not it's going to benefit me at all. And two, if it's going to make me move forward in life at all. And then three, does it have any ripple effects that'll kind of affect anything and throw chaos into the mix? And then if it doesn't check any of those boxes, then I don't care about it. So it's that's mine, and it's worked so far. And I'm sure there's more complex ones. But what I found is a lot of times that I worried. What I'm trying to say is I spent a lot of time worrying and talking and analyzing things that served no purpose into moving my life forward. So that simple cut and dry aspect has really helped me so far. Yeah.
Yeah. So simply, you asked me to clarify the message when we say tune out to tune in, right? So basically, and thank you for sharing that, by the way. Basically, what happens to our modern life is that we are receiving so much stimulants, so many things happening in our life. We all doing more than one job, we all doing so many things. We all trying to achieve so much. And there's so many information, media and stuff like that. Our brain just become overloaded, it's so overloaded, right? And so when you have those moments where you tune out of all the white noises, so-called, right? And just be in the present moment to just do what you're doing. That one thing where you're crossing the bridge, so-called, the plank, the tree, right? When you can just focus on that one moment, it gives your brain a break from the overstimulants, the overload, the overwhelm, right? And that is your split second of mental health and well-being that you're looking after yourself, right? And when You have those moments, which to me is really precious, right? Because we're also busy, we're on the run. Your precious moment, you need to treat it like your sacred moment. And yet you're wearing your earphone. And so that's your penalty there. So the universe is telling you lose it. You don't need it, right?
I call those life's tuition is what I call it.
It is. Those are the intuitive moments for you to realize that what exactly is happening, that you're still keeping yourself busy when you could have this stillness and pure presence of just doing whatever you're doing, crossing this little river, whatever you call it, right? And so it's not ignorance is bliss, but it's actually awakening in a spiritual realm. So in a spiritual world, all you talk about is your presence, your energy, your evolution as a human being, your awakening into your awareness. You're awakening to your own awareness as an individual. What am I doing? Why am I here? What's my purpose? All of those things is a spiritual journey. And so it's not ignorance. We are ignoring the outside noises, the white noises, so-called, but we're coming into ourselves so that we can be more aware, more in tune to ourselves for the awakening to happen. So that's the split moment for your embryotic kind of moment of the awakening journey into your true self, into your spiritual self. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think I really came to it as not, I used to compare it to like the emu putting its head in the sand, but it's really not, because when you're really intuitive and in tune in what's going on inside yourself and you're really doing that inventory, you're not ignoring what's going on. You're just choosing not to expend energy on it. And I think that's the different factor for me. And I think for a lot of it is understanding that it's not ignorance. It's just you're not reacting to things that don't need to be reacted to. You're letting them just fly right by. You know what I mean? So
what you just explained is so-called external layer. But the truth internal layer is actually allowing your awareness to come to surface. It's because we get so used to be so busy that we don't get to have this awareness for ourselves, for our true inner feelings. So it's actually the split second, that moment, the beginning of self-awareness, practicing self-awareness. And when you're starting to have self-awareness, you keep building more and more on that. That's your journey into the spiritual self. And that's when you're onto the journey of awakening. So it's not just ignoring the noises. Ignoring the noises is just I call it the external layer. I call it just the surface action. But the deeper action is the awakening of yourself. That's the crucial part. That's the part that not many people understand. Is awakening of the soul.
Yeah, my mind goes into flow state, just being in flow. And it's a place you can do it anywhere, even inside of a cage with someone punching and kicking at you.
Yes. In fact, that's how Buddhist monks train themselves. Mm-hmm. When you are inside your mind and you have this state of flow, so-called, those are your words, nothing on the outside disturbs them. They've gone into this meditative state that's so deep, that is within themselves, that nothing outside disturbs them. We, as a kid, I often watch the Chinese Kung Fu movies, right? That there's often the scene that the monk will just sit there and meditate, and then everybody else will come and provoke him and do all sorts of stuff, and it still doesn't disturb him. It's that kind of state of transcendence that you train your spiritual soul to. Yeah, so it's a complete different talk now, isn't it?
No, this is fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
My pleasure. You can always come back and share more. There's so much more. There's so much more to be talked. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, Clifford, if you have anything else other than that, otherwise, I'll wrap up with a closing question for you.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to say, Linda, thank you so much for pouring into our audience and pouring into us. We appreciate you with everything. And everyone in the audience, one of my coaches tells me this on a regular basis. So I have 3 coaches that I work with, and they say, if something hits you, listen to it again. So if you felt something that resonated, listen again, because you'll always get new things from the process.
Yes.
Linda dropped a lot of knowledge, so thank you very much. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. It's the same as why people reread my book. I have doctors and other entrepreneurs say, Dr. Bumash says, Linda, your book is on my desk. Anytime I feel wobbly, I'll just flip to a page, and whatever page I open, that's the page I'm meant to read, and then I'll feel okay again.
Nice.
And I have moms like put their book in the car and in the bag. So yeah, every time you revisit the story or the teaching or the quote, you're on a different trajectory of transformation, right? We all are. And so it will resonate differently at a different level. Yes.
Well, that was what my last question was going to be. If you wanted to take a minute to talk about the book, the connection, the currency to happiness, and tell people where they can find it and everything like that.
Sure. I consider the book a storybook, right? It's not your usual self-help book. It's got lots of real life stories, and it's all about how to make things work when things don't work. That's how I would describe it. It is through my personal journey that I was born at the end of the Vietnam War, right? I had nothing. So at the beginning, you hear me share a bit about myself. That's heart number 1. It's all about ourselves. Heart number 1 is love and connection with ourselves. I'm trying to share with people how to stay connected. And then as we go on, you realize that we need to connect with each other. And that's heart number 2, right? We all need each other. We're all part of each other. And I share that, for example, the farmer grows the food, right? And the truck drivers takes it to the supermarket. And then we buy it to do cooking, or the chef, buy the ingredient before he can cook a beautiful meal for you. So we're all part of this life journey. We all, serving each other. And it doesn't matter what job, what profession you do, we are all equally important. And so then it moved to one of the last chapters I dedicated to all the volunteers in the world. And that's love and connection for the universe. And that includes if you care about environment, sustain everything, right? Because we all part of this. And so the idea is that the more you practice the 3 hearts philosophy, the more you'll be happier. And so in terms of my work journey, I started Link Coaching as a coach in 2016. But before that, I was coaching people all my life. I know. I was helping brides to get into business when I had the bridal boutique 24 years ago now. My God, time flies. So I was always coaching people, but I just never knew it's called life coaching or business coaching. I was always helping people. Finally, I realized what it is. I flew to America to train and become as a professional coach, came back, started Link Coaching. Very soon into it, I started the book. I wrote a book. As an extension of the book, I started 3 Hearts. As an extension of those, now Coachable. Coachable is a platform for everyone to find a coach. And together, we become the better version of ourselves. So I'm still continually working on myself as human beings. We all do. And I'm still trying to achieve the next dream, whatever that is, that the universe guides me. And that, if anyone who wants to get in touch, I'm on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Yeah. So it's
Excellent.
wonderful to be sharing with you, gentlemen, and everyone else in your audience. I'm very, very grateful.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Linda, so much for telling your story. I look forward to having you back, and we'll dive even deeper into some of those topics. And thank you, Clifford, for bringing Linda on. Very, very much appreciated.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And the book is on Amazon in 13 countries. So I love to come back next time. And for now, I wish you both a good evening. For me, I start my day.
Yeah, it's the start of your day. Start of your day, absolutely. And I'll remind the audience that there's no questions in advance. There's no scripts. There's no agendas. This is a genuine and authentic conversation between strangers, with the exception of Clifford and myself. Linda just came in cold. And thank you, Linda, for being willing to come out into something without any questions in advance. So thank you so much, and you enjoy the start of your day.
Thank you. Bye for now, everybody.
Take care.
Bye, Linda. Have a great one.